Welcome, James Wilson, the Sleep Geek. If you could give us a little introduction about yourself for the listeners, viewers.
So yeah, I am the Sleep Geek. I'm a man in glasses who knows a lot about sleep. I'm a sleep practitioner and educator. I work mostly with organisations and sports teams, helping their people sleep better. I've worked with people like AB Wilfus, like Patax. I've worked with people like Marks and Spencer, Coca-Cola. I've worked with some governments, and I've worked in sport quite a lot. So I've been the sleep expert for quite a few football teams. But I've worked with Lincoln City, Sheffield United, Rotherham United, and last season West Ham. And I might not be the best sleep expert, but I'm very good at winning trophies. That's what I'd say. The teams I work with generally win something in the time I'm with them. Working lots of sports, so I've worked across pretty much every sport you can imagine. And I do this because for me, there's a problem for me. My family made mattresses, so we're third generation mattress and bed manufacturers, and I couldn't sleep. So I decided to do something about it in my mid-20s, and I've been on a journey to improve my own sleep and also help other people get better sleep since then.
Brilliant. Yeah, especially with, I'm just thinking then, West Ham won the first European trophy last year, didn't they? So must be something.
All down to me, obviously. That's it.
It's you that saved Moy's job then. So we've been trying to get this put together for a while because obviously we're a mental health podcast. Now, going through my own thing, when I look back at it, the amount of sleep that I skipped, that I missed purposely, and then this was probably because of the nature of my PTSD and flashbacks and things like that. But when I look back after 20 odd years now, I'm thinking that missing that sleep added to my mental health problems, mental health issues, and I'm not sure whether this is it the pressures of society and what we've got on us that people miss sleep and then wonder why we're in this downward spiral.
I think there's a couple of things. I think as a society, we maybe don't value sleep. So there's 4 things we need to live: food, water, air, and sleep. You can live longer without food than you can without sleep. And I think as a society, if you weren't absorbing nutrition properly, you'd be in hospital. If you were not breathing properly, you'd be in hospital. If you're not sleeping properly, you get it's sort of, and I think because we get older, you can get this where you need less sleep, which is not true. And we build stories around sleep. But on the other hand, I think as a society, we seem to think that poor sleep is a new phenomena that came about with the invention of the iPhone. And I'm 43. TV was a problem for me. My dad's 73, the radio was a problem for him, and before that people were reading under the covers, and before that there's always been things for poor sleepers that actually affect sleep. And I think sleep is the way it coexists with mental health. It is a foundation for good mental health, but also if our mental health is struggling, then sleep is one of the first things to go. And it's the part of well-being, I'd argue, we don't understand very well, and we try and sometimes approach it like nutrition or exercise. We have very prescriptive advice around sleep, and we think we can force sleep when in fact actually sleep is something that I see my job as being like a horse whisperer, and sleep is a bucking bronco, and my job is to sort of talk people to a place where they understand themselves better. In terms of sleep, and also what they can do to actually get better kip.
Yeah, so much like I think, my opinion is, I think most people's opinion is now each person's mental health is theirs. It's their individual, and you would say very much sleep. There's not one set pattern. There's not one set thing that we can say. So everyone, what works for one doesn't work for another.
That's it, and it's genetic. So I inherited my poor sleep from people who came before me. There is in sleep, I'd say, there's sort of different groups of people. There's poor sleepers. That might be a complex issue, like a sleep disorder, like a sleep apnea or chronic insomnia. There's poor sleepers where maybe there's something around their pre-sleep routine or their thoughts and feelings that's more easily addressable. And then there's sleep optimizers. And actually, probably what's become more and more apparent is people trying to optimize their sleep. They might be tracking their sleep. They might be getting up early because they want to do a hobby like exercise. And they're wanting to somehow tell their sleep what to do. They want to force their sleep at a time that works for them. And I think that can be quite difficult for people. And I think this individual, I'm a poor sleeper. It's not fair. My wife's brilliant. That's just not fair. she can drink a cup of tea before bed. She's from Barnes, so that's what they do. She drinks a cup of tea before bed, and she sleeps. She sleeps really well. And I have a cup of tea at 5 o'clock in the evening, and I'm waking up at four in the morning. And I think we've got to accept who we are a little bit. We've got to accept that actually this is you. And stop trying to sleep like somebody else. And I think there's a lot at the moment in particular. There's a lot of sort of podcasts. There's a lot of social media people on social media who are actually sleep experts talking about sleep in a way that actually is just making people sleep worse. And I think that's a lot of my whole mantra is taking the stress out of sleep. How do we get you sleep better when you stress less about it? I don't want you to have sleep as your number one priority. I don't want you to be obsessed with your sleep, because as soon as you are, you start sleeping worse. I want you to understand, and I want you to adapt and gently move towards better sleep. But actually accept that sometimes, I've got 3 kids. I run a company. We have, like everyone, I am not perfect. And there's a lot of sleep expertise who claim that from the moment they tried their approach to sleep, they've never slept poorly again. And you can buy it for £99.99. That sort of stuff is not helping us when it comes to sleeping better. And I think that's where we're at in society at the moment.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there's a lot of influences, and I think I've fallen into that myself. Definitely. And both myself and Seb have worked an awful lot of night shifts. And we've got all these other influences, and society's got all these other influences. For instance, I know myself, I had to get up the other morning and drive at 5:30 in the morning. So I've gone to bed, and all I could think was, I need to go to sleep. I need to go to sleep, and that's in my head. It's in my head. Is that just something we can't help? Is it is it a natural reaction?
It is, but I think you can work on it. And I think so. Even good sleepers have that when they've got an early flight, for example, and they've got to get up at 4 in the morning. And the first thing we do is we think, I'll go to bed early. That's the worst thing you can do, because the best thing you can do with that sort of routine is actually accept that you're going to get less sleep that night, because for some reason you've got to get up at 5:30. So that the first thing is acceptance. Don't go to sleep any earlier. Go to sleep try and target the same time. So when it comes to sleep scheduling, you'll read have a consistent bedtime. Yeah, but actually what you should be doing is having a consistent targeted sleep time. But if you're not sleepy, why are you going to bed? And when expertise is telling you have a consistent sleep time, it's a lack of understanding of sleep. We can't force sleep, so you can't make yourself go to sleep at 9 to wake up at 5:30. If you're normally go to bed at 11, that's quite a big move in your sleep time. And I think so in that situation, you go to bed at 11, and you might be trying to wind down before bed. You'll be doing things that are relaxing to you. If that doesn't work, it might be at that point you've got to reset your brain. You've got to let your mind wander rather than wonder. Like what you were wondering. I wonder if I'll fall asleep tonight because I've got up at 5:30. So wondering is the enemy of sleep. Wandering when your mind's iggledy-piggledy, when you have them fragmented, very strange thoughts, and you're dropping off to sleep. That's what we want. That's the manna, the manna from heaven we're looking for when it comes to our sleep. So I think it's if you can't get if you're in bed for say 15 minutes, half an hour, and you're not asleep, then you need to do something like reset your mind. It might be, and that is quite individual. That's what relaxes you. I find a lot of people find listening to something quite powerful, because your hearing is your alarm system. So if you can relax your hearing, you can the rest of your body follows suit. But then there might be an acceptance. So the first couple of times that happens, yeah, you might get 4 hours sleep, but you're all right, because if you've done shift work, you've had 4 hours sleep before and you've performed. So we don't have to beat ourselves up. That story of failure that we often have as poor sleepers, where I'm going to be rubbish tomorrow. And we're already telling ourselves that at 9 in the evening. We're already presuming we're not going to sleep, and we're already thinking about how we're going to perform. We just talked about me working in football. Last season we mentioned West Ham. We exactly the same thing. In a midweek game, they might be getting back to a hotel room at 1 o'clock. They might be getting a plane home that night and trying to sleep when they land in the morning. And these thoughts of failure, these thoughts of I won't sleep tonight because I've played last night and it's an irregular schedule. Well, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, where an acceptance and an acknowledgement of who you are as a sleeper, and then moving beyond that one night, is really powerful. And I think my problem was that I would fall into a sort of a routine of 2-3 hours sleep, doom mongering, waking up, doom mongering all day, going to bed, can't get to sleep, 2-3 hours sleep, And what I do now is I wake up at 3 a.m, because that's normally my problem, and I tell myself a more positive story. I tell myself I can't solve this problem now. I can't. The wondering thought I have, the thing I'm wondering about. Sorry, I can't do anything. So so some of it is maybe a behavioural cue like music. Some of it is working on mindset, and a lot of it is acceptance. So it's accepting that I've got to get up at R5 and there's nothing I can do about it.
Well, yeah. Some thoughts there for me. But you mentioned routine. So if everyone's routine is going to be different, then yeah. So how important is an actual sleep routine, do you think, to get into?
Oh, incredibly important, because you have that targeted sleep time in your head. So for me, my target sleep time is somewhere between 9:30 and 11, because having a set in stone, because that works for my sleep type. I'm more like a bit of an early middle. So think of your sleep type, chronotype, larks and owls. Think of it as a line, and you've got larks at one end, owls on the other, and you sit somewhere in that line. And your targeted sleep time should work for you in terms of your body's natural rhythm. This is preferably, as should your targeted wake up time. So I target 9:30 to 11 for going to bed. I target 5:30 to 7 for waking up. Not always within that, but if I get 7 hours sleep, 6.5 hours sleep within those two windows of opportunity, I'm all right. I can get through the days with that sort of the thing. So a targeted sleep time is very important. That's based on your body's natural rhythm. Now some people, because you've mentioned shift work, I work a lot with shift workers, and that's when you might be the best sleeper in the world, but your shift could be ruining your sleep. You're genetically a good sleeper, but the shift ruins your sleep. And this is where we might go outside our windows. But for people who work in a 9 to 5, people who are generally sort of working those hours, it's then looking at what you're doing around those things. So if you've got a hobby, so for me, if I've got a hobby and I start, like, say, exercising at 9 in the evening, that's not conducive to falling asleep in my window. I might be better thinking, do I exercise earlier in the day? If you're an owl and you're trying to get up at 5 in the morning because you've read loads of things on the internet about waking early makes you successful, well, that makes things very difficult, because you will not be able to stick to that schedule, and then you become a failure. And that story of failure becomes you, but it's not. You're not failing. You just create a sleep schedule that doesn't work for you. So target sleep time is really important. And then the hour before bed, winding down. What activities are you doing? Are you winding up, or are you winding down? And I would say one thing a lot of us get wrong is we do that wind down routine dressed. So we're still in our daytime clothes. We sat on the sofa and we'll think, I'll go to bed. And we'll start doing stuff. So you'll put the pets out, you'll empty the dishwasher, you'll go and look what washing you've got in the utility room, you'll go upstairs, you'll brush your teeth, you might take your makeup off, you'll get in bed, you'll have a chat with the person next to you. Can't get to sleep. And your body is literally screaming at you, make your mind up. Make your mind up, because I thought you wanted to go to bed. So I gave you the sleep stuff, and now you're waking up, I've given you cortisol and adrenaline, and you're buzzing now. It's be ready. So as you start that process, you can, anytime in that period you feel sleepy, you can go to bed. It doesn't have to be a set in stone time. It's listening to your body. Your body will tell you. And a lot of poor sleepers, especially early types, they felt sleepy at 9:30, but they wanted to watch another Netflix episode. They wanted to stay up a bit later. That's fine, but accept that you're not. It's not like you're genetically a poor sleeper. It's you may be out of sync with your rhythm. Yeah, it's not fair. Your partner might be an owl, and you want to be an owl, because owls are sexy. Let's not beat about the bush. Owl, it's rock and roll, isn't it? It's rock and roll. An early bird like me, no one's turned on by that. All right, Grandad, what time are you going to bed? So it's as a society, we have perceptions around sleep time that are interesting, because we also judge late types, owls. Early bird catches the worm. In the Bible, there's loads of references to like waking early and being godly. All this stuff feeds into our society. An owl might work really efficiently between 10, 11 in the morning and 6, 7 in the evening, but they've got to work between 8 and 4. These things are not helpful. So when we talk about wind down routine, it's really important, but it's also important, like, putting that in the right place for you. It's not a magic switch. It's not like I can, if you wind down properly, you can fall asleep at any time. That's not true. You need to have built up your sleep pressure, your sleep drive, your sleep appetite. And if you're trying to eat too early, you won't fall asleep. If you are timing it right, within about a 90-minute window that works for you, then the wind down will work. You'll go to sleep and you'll feel like you've stayed asleep. And that's what we're looking for when we're trying to help people sleep better.